Welcome to Baby Boomer Tales. My name's Jim. It's now October, one beautiful month. I think it's probably the best. Towards the end of October, it'll start feeling like winter is coming. But right now, it just feels like, thank goodness, summer's over and fall is on us. Beautiful, beautiful fall. We've officially lived here in our house out in the country in northeastern Kansas, a ways away from the Kansas City metro area, for 25 years. That happened 3 days ago. September 30th, 1999, we moved into these digs, built our house, and moved on in. Today, I just want to talk about what my wife and I have been going through in the last few months. Probably it's kind of come to a head in the last few months, and so I hope that this doesn't turn into a bitch session where I just complain about this and complain about that and yammer on and on about so and so or how I hate doing something, all that. I don't want that to be this. Let me start it out. A few days ago, it was right after we had had friends over and grilled some steaks, and we do this yearly with Chuck and Janet. One of us supplies the shrimp and the other one supplies the steak. And we eat shrimp and steak, and we eat as much as we can to overflowing. We're about bursting at the seams, and it's always a fun day. They come over and we do that, and then we play games, and they go home very late at night, and spent 12 hours here or more, or around 12 hours. And it's just fun. It really is. And it's kind of a tradition that we do. Now, knowing my friend Chuck, he might have that same tradition with other people. I don't know. But I know that for us it's special and it's fun, and Chuck usually starts asking us when we're going to do it, and we put it off, and then always realize, well, summer is going to be over and we wouldn't have done it, so we do it, and we're always glad we did. I provided the steaks, and they were 1 3/4 thick, 2 inches, I don't know. Anyway, they turned out good. I grilled them just right, just perfect. And Chuck was in the kitchen making shrimp. And I remember one instance, he came outside looking for me to ask me a question. Now, it wasn't by the grill. What had happened, I decided in my brain to pull the grill out. Did I talk about this once before? I don't know. And position it so that the sun wasn't on it, so I could see the flames and all that stuff when I was lighting it. And a wheel fell off. Now, I don't know how old this grill is. I think it's 10 years old. My wife thinks it's newer than that. We've had grills in this position on that very spot that the grill sits today for 25 years. Anyway, the wheel fell off. It turned out I was out there this morning. I've got to do something about that wheel. But it totally rusted off. And I bring the grill in the winter, but it rusted off, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But I was out there looking for some bricks or something to lean that one corner of the grill on so it wouldn't flop back and forth and it would be sturdy and stuff, and heard Chuck calling me. Anyway, I leveled the grill out, and it's sitting there firm and all that. And I forget what Chuck needed me for, but we had a fun time. Well, the very next evening, I went out, and I always go out and look around at night before I call it evening and go to bed. And I saw something was sticking out of the grill, and it looked like grass or something. So the next morning, I looked, and there was like a nest in there. And I thought it was under the burners. It was in the grill, but under the burners there's a tray. You can pull the tray out and stuff under the burners, clean off the grease and all that. And I thought, birds are making nests everywhere anymore. So the next day, I decided I'm going to get that nest out of there because I want to grill some burgers tonight. So that is Tuesday, after our Sunday time with Chuck and Janet. And I opened the grill and looked down there. I could see a couple things. I thought they were baby squirrels. What the heck? So I had to pull the grill out to get the tray out so I could access that from behind, because all the burners and the grates and stuff were right there, but I could see down in there. And by the time I got that, I determined they were mice. And I thought, those are big mice. And anyway, they got away, but I emptied the thing and I grilled my burgers and brats, and I found out later I probably should have washed that grate, but I didn't, or washed the tray, but I didn't. It's a major deal now to pull that grill out because that one wheel is rusted off. I pulled away from the bricks and it teeter-totters, you know. So I put some barbait, it's a mouse poison, there, and cleaned the tray out and stuff. And that was good until yesterday. I saw there was some grass there, and last night there was some more sticking out everywhere. And I looked, there's a nest again. So this morning I looked down in there, I lifted the grill and looked, and there's a couple mice. At first I thought they were rats because they look bigger than they are. But I kind of got one and I realized it was a mouse. So I spent 45 minutes between pulling the grill out, getting the tray out, getting the mice. Now that was an adventure that probably I shouldn't talk about here, but one mouse was eliminated through this because I am the hunter. And cleaned that all out and put a bunch more of that poison there and told the wife about it, and she got grossed out. And where I'm going with this, that grill sat there for 25 years. I think we're on our third grill, but 25 years and never had anything like this ever before. I don't even know how they were getting up in there because they'd have to crawl up a steel. You know, the grill is all made out of steel. But they are. I don't know if it had something to do with that wheel or what. You know, I don't know. So that got me thinking, and I came inside and told the wife about all my experiences and how hard it was, because it was hard and it was a little bit gross, and there was, you know, stuff that happened that if you're an animal rights lover, which we like animals, right? We like animals. I'm not sure a mouse is an animal, it's a vermin. It's an enemy of mine. I have enemies here. Muskrats, moles, mice, I don't know what all. But I love animals, I do. But this is ridiculous. That's my grill, not his grill. Wasps, I don't like wasps. I've talked about them before. I have a lot of enemies out here. But these mice are causing a lot of damage, and I don't understand. Okay, I said all that to say this. The last few months, I've been telling my wife that I'm getting too old for this. So, you know, we own 25 acres, or you should know by now. I've mentioned it on several occasions. And it is a lot of work. And I do a lot of mowing, and a lot of tree trimming, and just a lot of heavy, hard work. I'm 74 now, and it never really started to bother me until a couple years ago when I was on my roof and I couldn't figure out how to get down, how to negotiate the ladder to get down. So I'm not a young man anymore. We don't make our living out of living here. I don't have cows, although I probably should have, and I was going to when I first bought the place, but I just didn't. You know, we like to go on vacation and stuff, so cows and chickens and goats and all that stuff took a back seat. We didn't do any of that. I am kind of a country boy, but I'm more of a small town boy. I was raised in a small town, although we had a home in the country and all that stuff. But 25 years, here I have been in the country. I used to love it when I went to town and worked, because once I hit the gravel dirt road, I would relax. Now the gravel dirt road is just this dusty road that my car's always filthy dirty on. My wife's car, if she drives when it's kind of muddy, the wheels kind of get wonky, and I have to take a putty knife and scrape the mud out from these fancy wheels, or else it feels like the car's out of balance. So all this stuff is just, I'm getting too old for it. I had an idea here a while back that I'd divide the property and sell half of it, but it turned out that I have a neighbor to my west that he's too much, really. If he lived right next door to me, it would be terrible. But he lives a quarter mile away, and that's still bad enough. I mean, he's shooting and partying, and I think he has a bazooka over there. I don't need that. When my daughter got married years and years ago, I went over there and asked him not to shoot on that day because it'd freak all the wedding attendees out. So, what do? I've got so much stuff. I've got 4 weed eaters, 3 chainsaws, 1,000 foot of garden hose. I mean, everything is big. What I have to have a lot of, or a bunch of it. 2 lawnmowers plus my riding lawnmower. And I'm not a keeper of stuff. I don't keep junk. So my 4 previous mowers in 25 years, I got rid of those. But I don't want to leave, and yet I do. I'm like in confusion. So we decided to write the pros and cons of being here. Some of the pros is my garage is wonderful. It's heated in the winter and cooled in the summer. It's nice and big. It's only a 2-car garage, but there's room for a 3-car garage. Plus there's a bunch of space between the garage door and the wall. I mean, more than just park a car. I could, on this one part, pull it in and park another car behind it. So it's a nice big garage. I like that. It's a 5-bedroom house, but we made 1 bedroom into my office here. So it's a large house, 3 bathrooms, but it's not too large. My wife likes to travel in the house. One day or one time of life she'll spend downstairs. She has an office down there, plus her TV. She's made a little nest area where TV and her office and a couch and all that. You know, we have another kitchen down there. We have the grocery store down there, and I mean, it is a grocery store. In fact, when I go down there for food, I say I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'll bring 2 bags of stuff up. So it's not just a little pantry, and I like that. You know, we've got a fridge and a freezer. We've got 2 fridges downstairs. I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying, what am I going to do with this stuff? How can I even train my brain to go into a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house? I don't want that. My family from Colorado, when they come here, we have plenty of room for everybody. But between the wasps and the poison ivy and my fence line, we have several invasive trees around here. Osage orange, if you don't keep those in check, they just keep growing everywhere. Eastern red cedars, they're a wonderful looking tree, but they'll spread. You can see hay meadows all over this country that have these baby eastern red cedars just taken over. Black locusts, those things, you can make a spear out of their thorns. I'm totally off of my list and my outline here. I don't even know. What do? Do I sell everything? How do I sell it? We've been trying to sell stuff. We're selling, a few things a month, trying to get rid of it. But I don't know what to do with all this stuff. I have never been in confusion in my life since I quit doing drugs 47 years ago. When I got married, I was still smoking pot. I was 27. But that stopped within months of getting married, and I haven't done that since. No drugs. No drugs for you. No drugs for you. What's my idea of drugs? Lisinopril for blood pressure. That's my idea of drugs. But I come in from working outside, and maybe my arms are all bloody because I gashed them on a thorn or hurt my little self somehow. The worst thing is these wasps lately. I went for 15, 17 years and never got stung by one, but maybe I'm not as quick as I used to be. I don't know. I've thought of selling everything. How do you do that? I'm trying a little bit at a time because if something happened to me, I don't know what my wife would do. You know, we just got stuff. You have to have stuff to live out in the country. I start looking at my tools and stuff just to survive here, and it's amazing. It's not like a guy in town that has a lawnmower and a weed eater. You know, I said I have 4 weed eaters. One has bicycle handles, heavy duty to do this pond. Another one has chainsaw, like a circular blade that has chainsaw teeth on it to cut these little alder sapling type trees down. So I'm not bending over with a chainsaw. Another one's for the wife so she can around the house a little, a lightweight battery powered thing. And another one is one that is heavy duty that doesn't have the bicycle handles, so I can do around sidewalks and things. Am I getting too old for this? Now, the man that used to own this section, a section is a square mile. When we first bought this place, he still owned about half of the section. And he'd come around here because he had planted these walnut trees up and down my driveway. And so he'd like to get the walnuts off of it. He was pretty funny, but once he got into his 90s, he's still living there, but he's so old and he really didn't do any work, although he drove his tractor around. I guess if I didn't have to do any work around here, it'd be a wonderful place to live. It's a beautiful view. I've got this pond and stuff. It's just wonderful. I've got a lot of wildlife I get to see and enjoy. But when you mow for 6 hours at a time, or weed eat a pond for an hour and a half and you got a quarter of it done, or, you know, whatever, it's always something. The other day I just trimmed some trees so I could mow under them, and I had 3 truckloads of branches. I've been able to figure out, at 3 I like to stop, so I try to not cut any more than 3 truckloads of branches. My brush pile gets bigger and bigger. You ought to see it in the spring when I burn that sucker. It's like the towering inferno. I just wonder what I'm going to do, I guess. Do I sell everything? Do I move back to Colorado? That's actually been in my head a little. I like it where my daughter lives. She doesn't live as, 8,000 feet above sea level. She still lives in the mountains, but the winters aren't as severe. The fall is longer. The spring comes earlier than back in my hometown. Oh, I know. It's tough. I do know that it's not healthy to be confused, so my wife and I have a plan. It turned out that we can't divide this property because the county I live in, you have to have so many feet in the rural area between driveways. And even though my neighbor to the west is a quarter mile away, if I put a driveway over where I wanted to divide that land, the county wouldn't approve it. And they said I could jaunt things out and all that stuff. But who wants to do that? It would make it complicated. I would already have to get a new stake survey. It would cost me $5,000 just to do that. So we've eliminated that idea. So maybe I'll just sell this place and auction everything. Or maybe I'll stay here until I die. I said that when I moved here. I just visited my animal cemetery in the back of the property just 3 days ago, where I saw Sandy and Homer and Maxie and all the cats' graves. And yeah, there's a couple graves from friends' dogs back there also. I wouldn't mind being buried back there, actually, but I don't think that's going to fly. Just dig a hole and put me in it. Now, I do put roof shingles on top after I put the dirt back in and put them quite a ways out. And what that does is that deters the coyotes from digging them up. But you know what? There'd be worse things than to have a coyote dig up my body and gnaw on my bones. Thank God I'm a country boy. Well, through all this, I just want to remind you to always be kind. It's really the best way, no matter what the circumstances. I'll be back next Wednesday. Thank you for riding along today. I know it was a bit bumpy, always a little dusty, and that's okay with me. Peace out.